You're listening to the ESO Network, your station for all things geek.
We are NerdLanta.
You are now listening to the NerdLanta podcast. Episodes are available on all podcast apps and on the ESO Network. Please visit us online at nerdlanta.com for more info.
We are NerdLanta.
Well, hello, NerdLanta listeners. Welcome to the show. My name is Matthew English. With me is my beautiful co-host, Julie Marateck. Hello, Julie.
Hello, Matthew. You're beautiful too.
Oh, thank you so much. And
we're all
with us
beautiful
tonight, we're all beautiful. I know because I just cyber-stalked them. Our guests tonight, Matt Booth and Ian Deaton of Videodrome, an old-school video rental shop here in Atlanta. They stock indie, obscure, and cult films, plus the latest feature films. Guys, hi! Welcome to the podcast.
Hello.
Hey, how are y'all?
We're
Thanks for
doing
having
great.
us.
Yeah, of course. You. Thank you so much for being with us. We're all getting the hang of recording. You know, you'd think we'd be used to it by now, right, Julie? I think at this point since you've been co-hosting, we've done more of these digitally than we have in person, right? We have to by this point.
Yeah, that's true. We started off in person. We had a studio space, and it was sort of right as we were getting that under our wing, COVID happened. So then we went straight to digital. But producer Chris has done a great job making it happen. So, you know, props to him for making the digital podcast happen. I miss seeing your faces, but it is nice to do podcasts and not wear any pants.
Yes.
We are all anti-pants here today. That's
I'm doing the reverse actually right now. I have no shirt on but pants.
But pants. It's almost getting too cold to be pantsless all the time.
Yeah.
I'm starting to get a chill. Like I literally hopped in the shower last night at 1 a.m. just to take a hot shower because I was so cold in my bed.
Yeah.
I couldn't fall asleep.
Aw.
And it's only like 60 degrees. So
Yeah.
not even that cold yet. I'm from the desert. I feel like I get a pass. Oh, what was that? Was that Matt?
Today was warm today. It was actually nice out. Really nice.
It was beautiful outside. And of course, today I had the day off from work and I did not even leave the house. I had a beautiful day to do things and I did nothing with it. I stayed inside all day. Per usual. Julie, what have you been up to? Anything exciting happening?
No, I've just been getting ready for a bunch of comedy shows, and you have a couple coming up as well. But this weekend, I think you and I are both slated to be on Pride at Ponce, the Pride show at Ponce City Market on Saturday, which hopefully the weather will hold up for that, which fingers crossed. And then the following weekend, I've got my Friday night Ponce City Market show called Amped Up. And then Sunday night, I have a queer comedy show also at Ponce City Market, which unfortunately, Matthew, you will be out of town, but
I will.
I
Otherwise I would totally be there.
I wanted you on my show, but you have bigger and better things to do.
Oh, just like a literal 24-hour car ride with my dad. We are doing cross country in his Porsche.
Oh, nice.
So I think we can do that in 12 hours, right? I think if you go 120, you cut the time in half. My dad and I are driving cross country to see some family. So, it'll be fun. It'll be exciting. Yeah, I'm going to say it here because I know my dad doesn't listen to the podcast. I would rather be on your show. I'm not going to I miss comedy so much. I miss doing live comedy. So, I guess I'll just try out my jokes on my dad in the car. It'll be a lot of fun.
Get a tight 5 in with your dad, work on it the whole time.
A tight 24 hours.
Yeah.
I'm going to make 24-hour-long specials by the time this is done. I was thinking
how's comedy actually happening right now? Is it outdoors or is it spaced out, I guess?
It's happening a lot outdoors. There are some venues like the Laughing Skull has partnered with Center Stage, and they are doing an indoor comedy show, which I've yet to attend or be on, but I heard the turnout was great. I think their seating is, I'm going to say these numbers and get it totally wrong. I think they seat normally like just over 200 maybe, and they've capped it at like 75.
Yeah,
so
I had a friend
they see like 2,000, but they've capped it at
Center
like
Stage?
200. I think so. I mean, I'm not good with the numbers either, but I swear
I don't know
it
what
was
I'm talking about then.
I think it was like they seated 1,000 or so, but they're capping it at like 200 people. I could be
Maybe that's
wrong.
where I got
Don't
the
quote us on
200
any
from.
of this, though.
Don't quote us on
Yeah.
any of that. Maybe we should have the people from Center Stage on and they can tell us about their capacity.
Now,
I actually have a friend that was the house band at that last weekend, and he told me about it, but I can't remember the actual numbers. Or he was in the house
so
band.
there's some comedy happening indoors. It's like all the outdoor comedy. I think we kind of all got a late start to that because we now it's getting cold, and I feel like the show's basically just started. Like they started it up in like maybe June, and now they're over. So
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I'm going to continue doing my outdoor shows probably through November. And then I think, December, January, I don't know. We'll have to figure out if it's going to move indoors in a socially conscious space or just put it on pause. But we'll all see.
yes. Who knew that living inside a John Carpenter movie would be so damn scary? I wanted to do something like that when you're a kid and you're ignorant and you're dumb and you watch a cool movie, you're like, oh man, that would be so cool. I wish I could do that. And it's like, not as good as advertised. Not fun. Very scary.
it rarely is it?
If I get up in the morning and I hear the music from Halloween playing, I'm going to be really worried.
Yeah. Coming from no
gosh.
discernible source. It's just out loud
It's
somewhere.
just around.
I will be outside your window playing that tomorrow morning. I hope you are ready. What a wake up call that would be. That would be so much fun. But enough about us. Look, we've got guests on. Julie, we ended up talking about comedy. How does this always happen?
All right.
I know.
Got to get things rolling,
Well, yeah. Do you want to transition us into nerd news, Julie?
Let's do it.
Nerd news. Nerd news. It's nerd news time. Excellent.
It's Nerd News time, one of our favorite segments that we do where we get to talk about what's nerdy and what's going on in pop culture. I'm going to kick us off tonight. I'm a big movie buff, which is great that we have the guys from Videodrome on. I was really excited about the upcoming Jurassic Park movie, and I think I did another nerd news about the new Jurassic Park movie coming out. But then word got out today that there were some positive coronavirus tests on set. And so now they're delaying the new Jurassic Park for a year, which I'm really upset about.
Oh,
I know. It's actually interesting. So when COVID was happening, the team that was obviously doing Jurassic Park Dominion, they were sort of looked at as the leaders in getting movie production going on again. They had this huge, 200-page handbook on how to keep it safe. And they were pretty much taking every protocol that you could take, with myths that the actors would walk through. And I mean, you're talking about some of the biggest actors and film people in the world. So they obviously had access to top-notch, top grade, equipment and things that would help them avoid COVID. They limited the amount of people on set each day. I mean, they took every precaution possible, but unfortunately, it still wasn't enough. And there's lots of positive cases coming out, and so they are going to delay it. It's actually a funny tweet. Colin Trevorrow, the director, tweeted, "Woke up with the news. We had a few positive coronavirus tests on Jurassic World Dominion. All tested negative shortly after, but due to our safety protocols, we're going to pause." And then there's a picture of a baby Stegosaurus wearing a face mask, which is
That's a pretty, yeah.
that's adorable.
Well,
The good news is this gives me more time to watch all of the movies.
I know, because
So-
you've never seen Jurassic Park, which still
Wow.
makes me I don't know if it makes me sad or angry.
Porque no los dos. Little sad, little angry. How about you guys?
Yeah.
You guys have affinity for the Jurassic Park movies? What about the Jurassic World reboots?
Ian here. I really loved the first one. I went to go see it in the theater with my dad in Tampa, Florida, when I was living there as a teenager, and I had it was weird because felt like I was too old to get horrible nightmares, but for whatever reason, I just had horrendous recurring nightmares of the T-Rex, busting through my ceiling and pulling me out of my bed and eating me. So it had a big effect on me. I mean, then the second one, it's I've rewatched it and it's fun. And then the third one, I remember going to see in the middle of the day when I had skipped out on work or something like that and just wanted to go drink beer in the theater and watch a crappy movie. And that one made me laugh out loud a lot, but not intentionally. So the first three, I really enjoyed all those. They get, subsequently crappier like most sequels do generally, but I still like them a lot for what they are. But I watched the new one with the kind of the beginning of the reboot or whatever you want to call it with Andy Dwyer, whose name escapes me at the current moment.
Chris Pratt.
Yes, thank you, Chris Pratt. Andy Dwyer. I don't know. It was fun. It was enjoyable. It was they're essentially dino-sploitation movies, so that's kind of what I look at them as, and I just try to enjoy it. It was entertaining, but it didn't really grab me as much as the first one especially, but that almost so might be because I was a fucking teenager at the time, so who's to say?
Yeah, I mean, this is Matt Booth again. They're popcorn movies. They're really fun theatrical experiences, but I think, they've been less interesting as they've gone on. And had kind of less interesting people as part of the cast and stuff, but they're enjoyable. And I've always, growing up, I was a big Land of the Lost was the scariest thing I ever saw, and I kind of the first one I thought was cool because it kind of tied into that idea a little bit to me. But they're super fun theater experiences.
Well, and is it even? I was gonna say, is it even worth me going to see it or seeing it if I can't do it in a theater? That's
I don't.
Well, unfortunately, I mean, all the movies are being delayed. Even the ones that are finished right now, Dune just got delayed, and Batman got delayed, and so I think that's just the world we live in right now. Which is,
you have to watch the original ones first, either way, which you can't watch those in a theater. So, Matthew, you have to watch the original. And then obviously there's two more in that series. And then now, 20, 25 years later, there's a new batch, if you will. I say new batch. Here's a trivia question I'm going to ask. What 80s movie sequel included the word a new batch?
Oh, that would be
Gremlins
2. Yeah.
Yes, you're right. I said new batch and it made me think of Gremlins. Knew I was talking to good film people. Yeah, it has nothing to do with what I'm talking about. I just wanted to randomly give you a trivia question about the Gremlins. But I like the new ones. I mean, I totally agree. They're, very super, they are great, like you said. Popcorn movies. I like you're saying about dino exploitation. I mean, they totally are all those things, but I think the kid in me still goes back to that first time I watched Jurassic Park, which was, there's a few movies in my brain that stand out as when I saw them in the theater, at the time as a kid, my mouth drops, and I mean Jurassic Park and Titanic, those were the two movies I just remember blew my mind. So I think, I still go back to probably the kid in me, even though I know the movies aren't as you say, are maybe as interesting.
I think that's how, I think for me, it was funny you brought up Gremlins because I think Gremlins was that same experience for me because I think I'm a little older than you probably, but I don't think I saw Gremlins when it came out, but they used to re-show movies a lot back every year, especially during Christmas or something. Mm-hmm. And I think Gremlins had that effect on me where it was it was scary and funny and totally new to me at that moment.
Yeah, Gremlins is awesome. And Gremlins, I watch it every Christmas and it still ages really well.
That Ian here, I must say, Phoebe Cates' monologue in the 3/4 mark of the film is like one of the greatest, most chilling monologues ever in film history. Like that, I've showed that to so many people. I'm like, you want to see something fucking disturbing? And they're like, oh, what is it? She like talks, doesn't she? And then they don't remember the speech that she gives. And I've shown that to like my adult like buddies, like, you know, we're all grown up, and I'll just be like, just watch this. It's only 3 minutes. And they're like, oh my fucking God. Like that's more horrifying than anything that happens in the film. Like, and she's
it's out of nowhere too.
Yeah,
It's so random. Like she tells this horrifying story, and then it just kind of ends.
Yeah. They have to go for some reason. Yeah, I can't remember what happened, but yeah, that's and I mean, just the way she delivers it, like the camera moves, like everything, that firelight on her face, like, and I want to say even they add some little like sort of memory sounds as she's telling the story and stuff like that, like echoing in the background, and it's just chilling. Like, great point in the movie.
It
and
is
actually,
a great theme.
I was going to say really quick, just a small, strange anecdote, but I also had a very formative experience with Gremlins. I didn't get to see it when it was originally released because I was like 2 or 3 or something, or maybe even 4. But my sister, I remember seeing the poster and I was like, oh, I want to go see that. It's got Gizmo or whatever. He just looked cute to me as a kid. And my sister went to go to the mall to see it with my grandma. And I couldn't go because, you know, it's a fucking horror movie. And I wanted to go see it so bad that when my sister and my grandma were at the mall, I just was like, oh, I'm going to go up. I'll walk up to the mall from our house, which was like a couple miles away. I had no idea how to get there, but I wanted to see Gremlins so bad that my mom had the front door open to let some air in. And I literally just walked from the kitchen out the front door and tried to be like, oh, I'm going to go to the movie theater. And, you know, threw my mom into a complete, you know, she had a nervous breakdown looking for me and freaking out and stuff like that. But yeah, so didn't get to see it, but I traumatized my mom by trying to run away to go see Gremlins.
That is so funny. Did she find you like walking on the street?
Yeah, she found me like a couple streets over and was just like, you know, screaming and crying like, what are you doing? Like, I can't believe you. Like, get in the car. You scared me so bad. Oh my God, I love you.
That's so funny. It's like you had your own scary monologue moment. Your own Gremlins.
Yes, exactly. And I had no idea how, you know, anything could have happened to me. I could have gotten hit by a car. I could have got kidnapped. I have no idea. But I just was like, I'm going to go see this movie. I don't care.
That's really funny. You said you were like 3 years old?
Yeah, I was like 3 years old. And that's a very, I thought for a minute it was like a false memory. And then I asked my mom about it like a year ago. And she was like, oh my God, like, I'm still mad at you about that. Like, why'd you do that?
That's so funny.
I think everyone's got one of those like terrified my mom by just disappearing stories.
Yeah.
Mine involved me running away in a Superman costume. So there's that.
That's awesome.
My
So that's a story for another day. Well, I'm sorry about the delay. What was that, Matt?
My brother was always a master of disappearing in every Kmart or whatever it would always be over the loudspeaker, you know, them calling for my mom. It happened every time we went anywhere. So I was pretty good at not doing it.
I
never really ran away.
Mom,
I did. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Matthew.
Oh no, I was gonna say I'm glad that I've never, like, there was only one of us that was ever left behind somewhere. I remember getting in the car, my mom starting to back out of a space one time. We were at a Best Buys and being like, "Wait, where's my sister?" We left her in the Best Buys.
Oh,
so there's always that.
Yeah.
But Julie, what were you don't think you didn't have a runaway story?
I don't know that I ever ran away. I mean, I did other little things. I remember probably about that same age, like 2 or 3, and I was in Winn-Dixie, and it was like middle of July, so it was like 100 degrees, and I was wearing this giant pink, I don't know, winter coat. My mom was like, "That's weird. Why is Julie wearing a winter coat in July?" But I insisted on wearing it. And then apparently the story goes that as we were walking through Winn-Dixie, I was just taking candy and just putting it in my coat, just like walking, which seems very on brand for me. Like, you know, I would totally do that. And so I was just stuffing my winter coat with lots of candy. And so my mom decided that she was going to get the manager to come up to me and try to kind of scare me by, you know, being like, "Hey, what are you doing?" And so apparently this manager came up to me and he was like, you know, how do you intend on paying for all of that candy? And I pulled out Monopoly money and handed it to him. So I would say I was very clever.
Still are, Julie. Very clever girl.
And I still steal candy, so
Nice.
nothing's changed.
And you still steal candy, yep.
And that ties us back to Jurassic Park because you said clever girl. You guys don't remember that?
Whoa!
No. One of the hunter guys or whatever the park ranger says that about the Velociraptor. Anyways,
look at me dropping references without having seen the movie.
Subconscious, yeah, that's weird.
It's just in the zeitgeist. I just know these things. Well, enough about boring dinosaurs. I'm here to talk about a better animal. Another animal that's adorable and amazing, and once native to Australia, but has been extinct for 3,000 years on the mainland. And thanks to my secret boo, Chris Hemsworth, they're reintroducing the Tasmanian devil to mainland Australia.
Oh, wow.
Really?
That's amazing.
Yeah. I know. How exciting is this? They've been gone. They are native to the mainland. Of course, the island of Tasmania is named, in conjunction with the Tasmanian devil. That's where people think they are from. But no, They were also at one point, about 3,000 years ago, also on the mainland. But due to both human impact and also a couple of major infections among the population, they have been extinct for 3,000 years.
Oh, wow.
So Chris Hemsworth is bringing them over. He's bringing them. They're releasing them outside Sydney.
Nice.
Noise. Crikey. What do you guys, have you guys actually seen a Tasmanian devil? Don't think about Looney Tunes. That guy was a rascal. I'm talking about the actual, they're so cute and they're funny.
I have not. I have a vague memory of them looking like a big muskrat, but I don't remember, honestly.
It's exactly that. Yeah,
oh, okay.
They're wily and they're fun and they have sharp teeth. All my favorite animals are just little rascals with sharp teeth, like raccoons.
They're really cute. I just Googled
aren't
it.
They? Yeah. What do you guys think about Chris Hemsworth, Thor, God of Thunder, bringing back the Tasmanian devil?
He's pulling a Jurassic Park.
He is.
That's what I'm saying. Are they going to attack everybody?
Yeah,
they are. They're brought. I believe they've been released into a sanctuary, so just outside of Sydney, to try and get them used to the new land, and then I'm guessing they will try and reintroduce them into wild populations as well. So far, they've only brought 26 of them this year, and then they will introduce 20 more next year. And currently, they're going, and it's with a conservation group called Aussie Ark. Yeah, and so it's Chris Hemsworth and his wife, who he should just leave and be with me, but but yeah, this story made me smile. I saw it on my social media feed, and I was like, oh, look at him doing his thing, doing animal conservation. That's adorable. And then I looked at the Tasmanian devils. I was like, they're adorable too. Apparently they are the world's largest surviving marsupial carnivore. So that's exciting.
So where were the remaining Tasmanian devils? Where were they existing?
On the island of Tasmania, which is just off the coast of mainland Australia to the south, south of Melbourne. Yeah, that's where, and people think that they're just this animal that only lived on this island. No, at one point they were native to the mainland. So now they are trying to bring them back, which is fun. Yeah. And so we'll keep an eye on that. We'll keep an eye on the Tasmanian devils and see if they thrive. I really hope they are.
Maybe they can make a killer. There's some, what's the movie? Razorback, the good Australian killer animal horror film. Maybe they can do it. Tasmanian devil one.
So here's to the Tasmanian devils. Let's hope they don't all get eaten by dingoes. let's cheers to that. I'm drinking coffee at 8:30 at night. So cheers to the Tasmanian devils and to Chris Hemsworth and his beautiful flippin' face.
You just want an excuse to talk about Chris Hemsworth.
There's no, come on. Look at that man. That is a handsome man. Well, we've got to take a quick break for promos. That's the Tasmanian Devils. So we're going to take a quick promo break, and then when we come back, we will interview Matt Booth and Ian Deaton of Videodrome in Atlanta.
What's new on the 42 cast? Let's ask my co-hosts.
We're talking about Doctor Who,
comic book shows and movies,
and we're talking about all things Star Trek.
and so much more.
Check us out on Google Play, Stitcher Radio, and iTunes.
It's only on the 42 Cast, your ultimate answer to fandom, geekiness, and everything.
So Nathan, when are we finally talking Babylon 5?
Everyone these days could use a little support, and your friends at the ESO Network are no different. With the ESO Network Patreon, the cool thing is when you help support us, it's you who will benefit. With 4 tiers starting for as little as 25 cents a week, you can listen to some of your favorite network podcasts early, hear exclusive content, maybe get some ESO swag, or even possibly take a shot at the geek seat. All you need to do is sign up at patreon.com/ESO Network.
You are now listening to the NerdLanta podcast. Please visit us online at nerdlanta.com for all episodes.
And we are back.
Yeah, so we are here to talk with the awesome folks who run Videodrome, which is, I don't know, if you're in Atlanta, and I feel like you know what Videodrome is, but for people that may not know what it is, tell our audience all about it.
Well, this is Matt Booth again. I mean, Videodrome's it's the last independent video store in Atlanta, really the last video store in Atlanta. And we carry, at this point now, we carry DVDs and Blu-rays. We rent them. We have a really wide selection of independent, foreign, documentary, cult, anime. We kind of fill in all the genres now. We started as more of like a cult. We started the store in 1998. And it was all VHS at the time. And at that point, we were kind of an alternative to Blockbuster or to the sort of corporate video stores. But at this point now, we've kind of morphed into more of like a video library. So we try to carry as big a selection as possible. We have probably about 7,000 Blu-rays now and somewhere in the range of 30,000 DVDs. And we're just trying to keep physical media alive and be an alternative to the sort of streaming services in Atlanta.
That's so interesting. I think that when you guys started, obviously DVDs were a huge part of our culture. Everybody was watching DVDs. And so you just sort of started out as like you said, sort of a cult following video store in Atlanta. Like I remember when I first started working, I worked at a small documentary film company here called Journey Productions. And my boss would send me to Videodrome to pick up kind of obscure films and documentaries and things like that. But now you're kind of like you said, you're like Blockbusters aren't even around anymore, but you're still standing, which I think is like a really amazing testament to your fandom.
I mean, video stores are definitely like an endangered species at this moment. I feel like COVID has put, even in a dying industry, COVID's put another stress layer onto physical media because, not only just all the perils and changes you have to make for COVID, but there's just no new movies coming out. So there's a few independent things and some foreign stuff and a lot of reissues, but it's really hard to promote and run a store without like a weekly schedule of new releases to draw people in.
Well, and that was going to be part of my question. I mean, I know I've been doing a lot of streaming, and I was curious to see if you guys had seen a decrease in business because people just aren't leaving their houses, or an increase because I've streamed everything that I want to watch. Like I have not finished Netflix by any means. However, there's nothing on. I'm one of those people that's like October 1st. I'm like, okay, what's new on Netflix? I gotta because I'm bored with my streaming options.
Yeah.
If I lived, I'm out in the suburbs, so I would kill to be closer to Videodrome right now because I know I could pop in there and pick up some things that that are hard to find.
First month, say March, we were way up because that's when the panic happened and people were renting 10 movies at a time and trying to stay home for 2 weeks. Middle of March to April, we had a really, really solid 30 days. And then, as things started shutting down and as the different orders came into place, people were out less and less. The streets were kind of dead for most of April, I guess. I don't know if you remember, but and we had solid business. We turned into it. We had to morph our entire business and turn it into a takeout place. We kind of shut the store down, put a table across the door, and we're taking orders over the phone and email. trying to be as, conscious of not drawing a crowd or line in the parking lot. So that was tough for us because browsing is such a big part of our business. It's a totally different situation to have people have to come to you and ask for specific things, or we have to come up with an idea every time for somebody. So I think from that point on, we did okay business, but we were doing more like 2/3 of our normal business, even up until now. And we just now reopened the store to browsing with people with masks on, 5 people or less, just the last weekend. So we were actually at the inside of the store shut down for 6 months, which I'm sure affected our sales.
Yeah, no, for
But
sure.
kept us safe.
How has your first week of in-store browsers gone? Have you had anyone give you a hard time about wearing a mask, or
no? Masks are no problems with masks. I was afraid of that, obviously, originally, but I haven't a single problem with a mask. We did install some plexiglass around the counter to keep sort of a separation happening. I personally definitely feel a lot more exposed, but I've just, like all my friends who are working, just bought completely into masks and have decided that the numbers in Atlanta look like they're going down, and they've gone down significantly, and I think it's because of masks. So I'm just going with the idea that masks are going to work.
Yeah, well, we'll put all our faith into that, and we'll we'll cross our fingers.
If the government's not going to do it, I'm going to pick masks.
Yeah, then I'm going to.
Yeah.
The government doesn't have our back. We'll have to have each other's. I think that's
Videodrome's going to do it.
Videodrome for president. That's
Who are most of your customers? Who are most of the folks that come in to your store? Are they young people, old people?
It's a good mix. It's a mix of older people that don't fully use the streaming, and then a lot of younger people that aren't happy with streaming. I mean, streaming is a great place for television or for like a partial selection of things, but for movies, it's so fractured that you have to have 2 to 3, probably 4 services to get any sort of real depth of product. So if you're a movie fan at all and you want to go through someone's back catalog, or you get into a genre, streaming's really tough for that. I mean, it's really uneven selection.
Do you guys have the movie Mannequin?
Yeah, we have Mannequin 2. 1 and 2 is a double feature.
Oh my God, because I have been trying to find Mannequin. It is not streaming anywhere. And for years I've been trying to find Mannequin. So now I know where to go to get my Mannequin fix.
Yeah, I mean, that's just how streaming is. I mean, streaming, something might be streaming today and then it's gone next month too. So we have a library that doesn't, we keep adding to it. We're not subtracting to it. We're not losing the rights to things or buy, they buy these huge blocks of films and they own the rights for a certain amount of time, and then it's off, and then maybe it's moves to another streaming service, or maybe it totally disappears. So, our library's forever.
Yeah. Netflix used to do a little like blurb that said like, if something was in your, I don't know if they still do it, but they would tell you like, hey, something is expiring in your, and it's like, damn it, I've now got a timeline to watch this. Like, that's so frustrating. And at the beginning of the pandemic, like I streamed all of the Marvel movies. My dad had never seen any of them, so I forced him to binge them from Iron Man to Endgame. And yeah, it was intense. And we did it in like 11 days. So it was a lot. But so I signed up for Disney Plus for this, thinking like, oh, this is perfect. I'll be able to get them all right here. Because I owned a couple of them. Like I'd purchased a few of them myself, but I had gaps. And then I still ended up having to go to both Amazon Prime and Netflix just to finish everything. It's like even Disney didn't have the rights to, because they had signed these exclusive deals for Netflix and Amazon. So it was incredibly frustrating to yeah, I totally feel that. And I think that is a boon for you guys. The fact that you guys have a catalog that does not disappear. You said Videodrome was founded in 1998. To give us the origin story, give us the backstory. Let's hear it.
I worked at a video store in Little Five Points. It was called Video Update. That was like a competitor to Blockbuster. And I was the manager there, and wasn't really, I mean, I've worked at video stores growing up, and then I got out of college and didn't have a real plan of how to have a job. So I started working in video stores again. And it was kind of industry where if you were responsible at all, you got moved to the manager pretty quick. And while I was the manager, it was the kind of 96, 97, like heyday of video rental. And we made a lot of money there. We did really well. But I realized that, this was a really eclectic neighborhood, and people were looking for, Fargo and foreign films and all this stuff that we weren't really carrying as much, or the depth wasn't there. We were still, trying to fill the wall with flubber or whatever was coming out at the time. And I changed the ordering there a little bit and did well with it, with some foreign independent stuff. But I realized there was a market in that neighborhood for a different kind of video store. I had a friend who worked there at the time named Jeff Sutton. We kind of pulled together our collection and then some money that we borrowed and convinced the landlord over at North and North Island to give us a chance. There was a poster store that had kind of went out of business right around then. And we just started filling the place up with VHS. And we weren't a very good store when we opened. We were really strong in some kind of weird categories like Italian horror and Hong Kong movies that were kind of new and hip at that time. And we were really strong in, we didn't really have a great library, but we had a lot of anime, and the neighborhood gave us a chance and we just grew from there.
Yeah, well, it's awesome. That's the wall flubber. I'm sorry, I'm still laughing to myself about that. God, I remember that movie.
I have memories of, 200 copies of Flubber, putting stickers on 200 VHS of Flubber, and filling an entire two wall sections of Flubber, and there were a lot of movies like that at the time. But back during the time when Blockbuster was trying to guarantee people their release to be there, every other store tried to do that too.
I'm just like, who needed that many copies of Flubber at once? Flubber. I can't. How was the demand that high?
It wasn't. Maybe it was in some places, but it definitely wasn't at our store.
No, you just sat on, you at any point, probably 198 copies. So what do you think the reason is for Videodrome's kind of, it's one of those things. It's one of those landmarks of Atlanta now. You've got like the Claremont, the Masquerade, Videodrome. It's one of those things. It's a landmark of the city. What do you think it is that, it's obviously time, but also what is it about Videodrome that people love and people hold so dear to them?
I think we've really tried to just be part of the community. So everyone loves our logo, and it's the kind of place you have, if you live in Atlanta at all, for any time you have to drive by. So it's a pretty visible, recognizable logo that my brother created for me, which I really appreciate. It's been it's been a key component of the store, and we've kind of over the years transitioned to doing events and doing public things and screenings and parties. And so I think that's really helped us socially. So I don't know. I think that we've just always tried to be as connected to the community as possible.
Yeah, I think that's great. I think that, even like you said, you've been around for so long that, maybe, people have been able to pass it down to, another generation of video fans and people in the community. And do you feel like, I know vinyl hit a surge this year, like more vinyl was sold this year than CDs. Do you feel like in a number of years, DVDs are going to come back?
Yeah, that's the other end of the spectrum now, that Blu-ray has become a real collector's medium. And there's all these like really awesome boutique labels giving like the sort of criterion treatment to horror and cult, and even terrible movies are coming out in these perfect prints with tons of extras and all. So, there must be, it's gotten out of hand now that we're buying from, Arrow and Vinegar Syndrome and Severin and this Grindhouse, and it's so many, Vestron, Scream Factory, Kino Lorber, Agfa, like it's crazy the reissues of older films in a perfect scan, color corrected and full of like commentaries and documentaries. And so Blu-rays really changed the game from a collector standpoint.
That's interesting, because I think vinyl almost went the other way, right? That's, vinyl is the older version is the collector's edition, in my opinion, for music, but you're saying that the Blu-ray is the collector's medium for film. That's so interesting to me, because and like people bringing back cassettes for music just made no sense to me, because those things were always a bitch to use. Like there's never a time I was like, can we get this on cassette? I don't know if I ever preferred media for film, but you're saying that you didn't. But however you want to watch a movie. But I do appreciate seeing something, in 4K. It's like, especially if it's something like watching Inception in 4K. It's like, it was really great. I saw that one in a theater too, but even to bring it home and watch it in 4K was really great. And I have a hard time imagining that like watching Inception on a VHS would be like it would be odd, right? Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good point.
Yeah, I mean, as much as our buddy Josh runs a really cool label called Lunch Meat, and he came down and did that screening, the VHS marketing screening with us, and I don't know, he puts out a lot of sort of strange cult items, and recently put out like a coffee table VHS book and some stuff like that.
That's
interesting.
Cool. That's interesting that you talk about the genre. I mean, I feel like, if you're going to watch a horror film, then those imperfections that kind of come with a VHS almost add to the experience, whereas, watching something like Inception or something, it's almost like you don't want those imperfections. But there's something about the horror genre where I almost feel like having it feel or be a little bit more old school kind of adds to the whole like mystique of watching the film.
Yeah, for sure. I love it. Well, before we let you guys go, we do like to give you guys an opportunity to plug your social media, Videodrome social media. Where can we find you guys? Websites, anything you guys want to plug, go for it.
Yeah, I mean, we do our videos. Our website is videodromeatl.com. Our Twitter is videodromeatl, at videodromeatl, and then our Instagram is videodrome_atl. And then we do have a screening coming up in October. We're showing the 2000 movie Ginger Snaps, which is like a sort of feminist teenage Canadian werewolf movie that's really fun. So we're showing that Thursday, October 29th outside and at the drive-in of the plaza. So that's something to look forward to.
Oh, it'll be fun.
Absolutely.
Very cool. It was a blast having you all. And I also want to remind our NerdLanta listeners to subscribe to our podcast. We're available on all podcast apps and on the ESO Network. And you can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. It was so great having you guys on the show to talk about Videodrome.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, guys.
All right. We'll talk to you guys soon. And thanks again to our fans for listening.
That's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
This has been a broadcast of the ESO Network. Be part of the crew and help support our shows by donating to our ESO Patreon or by shopping through Amazon.com or the TeePublic store, which can all be found at www.esonetwork.com. The ESO Network, your station for all things geek.